Ladies and gentlemen, quackers and quackettes of the Quack and Smite League, it is hot outside and it's hot in here as well. My name is Raptor. Joining me is Red Sniper right down below me. And welcome all to the Season 12 Abyss Draft. And we are so excited to finally be here. It was a shorter break than normal, but it feels like it was so long ago that we made the final call in Season 11.
Yep, it's just been a crazy time already. Season 11 went back and forth. There was a big mix up in a bunch of the lower level teams, but now we get back to the creme de la creme, the top, the wonders, the awesome thing that is the Abyss division. So I am so glad that we are back. We are here, and we've got so much great Smite playing ahead of us. And we're going to start off with the Abyss draft tonight against 6 teams. They're going to pick 5 players each, so you're going to have a roster of 6. Wait, what? Okay, all right. I'm hearing that we might be joined a little bit later by Poe as well, who wants to make an announcement. But again, we'll see when she's available, but I am still looking at these picks as they are starting to come in already. Alfie, the captain of the King's Court, looks like he has picked Valdok. Sorry. I'm going to call it Valdok. I know it's something else, but that's going to be my shot at it.
It's what is it? Valod?
Valod.
I'm not even going to attempt to pronounce it. Everyone who's watched the stream, who's watched QSL long enough, knows I suck with names. But
it's Valo. Valo in
it's
game.
Valo.
So
Okay.
Valo. Yeah.
Well, you were talking about Poe coming in later. I think later is right now, as we have Poe ready right here with us as we move on to the cruise pick.
Hello.
Hi, Poe.
How are you guys?
Doing well as always. How are you?
I'm doing well. I'm excited. Draft has started. Watching all the picks and everything. Seeing the teams get formed. It's awesome.
Well, I hear you got an announcement for us. What you got for us, Poe?
I do have an announcement. So, for this final season of Smite 1 in QSL, the prizing's changed a little bit. It's going to change a little bit. Grand prize for first place in every division in QSL is going to be 12,000 gems, and second place is going to be 5,000.
12,000 gems. Did I hear that right, Poe?
Yep, per person. 12,000 gems.
Yikes.
Nice little stimulus, you could say, but going into Smite 2, you can buy that T5 skin before you go, or some whatever you want. Add the pocket.
Talk about an incentive to play. Remember that those gems will be turned into legacy gems as well, only once you spend them. So treat yourself nicely. If you win, get yourself a tier 5, because 12k is more than enough to get that. Treat yourself. Spoil yourself in Smite 1 as we get hyped for Smite 2. That is an absurd amount of gems right there. Absolutely insane, but that's great for the final season of QSL before Smite 2.
Yeah. We just wanted to go out big and go out memorable, and make sure the players felt like they really were playing for something, something really good. So I hope they're happy.
Oh yeah, it's awesome.
I'm sure they are happy as well. Let's hop back into the draft, as we've already finished the first round. Remember, there's only 6 teams, which means, well, in the rest of the divisions, we'd still be in the first round, not in the Abyss division, as we've already hit the end of the first round, and, I mean, there have been some noticeable names coming through to be picked up.
Oh yeah, I mean, we already talked about Valo, but Jack got picked up, Legit got picked up. We've already got Stages picked up by the Fallen Angels here. Again, that's already a lethal combination, 1-2 between Justin, him, and Stages. So I'm really looking forward to see how Fallen Angels is going to kind of wrap up or put the bow on that team, and how they kind of find those little those nooks and crannies, those little hidden gems where they can build that team to a powerhouse. Because I'm already liking their draft. I already like Drew's Food and Jack, by the way, on the crew as well.
Mm-hmm.
So interesting though about this Valo pickup. So I'm interested to see what Alfie saw in Valad to pick him up first.
We've seen a lot of overall picks just not really work out. And now, given in the past, that was almost solely like in possession of suboptimal. and it's hard for him not to work out. But in recent seasons, we've seen it come time and time again. And honestly, the team that has gotten that first pick hasn't, I don't want to say they haven't seen a whole lot of value out of them, because it's the Abyss division. If you're going first overall, there's a reason for you going first overall. But
right
at the same time, they don't seem to be the ones hoisting the trophy at the end of the year.
Yeah, and I don't know if that's because of just draft strategy, or maybe it's the idea of I'm first place, I get to pick the first one, but then I have to wait until now the 7th or 8th pick. Or actually, no, I take that back, because it's not just 6. You've got to wait until all the way around. So now you're waiting to pick number 12 in order to pick up your next player. So the top 10 is already gone at that point. Again, if you have a captain that maybe is trying to pick up the best players he can, maybe he's trying to pick up a good pairing, later on, you might be getting that duo lane that you desperately need, or you might be getting that mid-jungle pair that can help run games. But when your top-end player is number 1 overall, and then your number 2 player is your 12th overall pick, maybe the synergy isn't that great. So again, I don't know if it's just been the draft luck, or rather lack of, or if it's been the pairings haven't been quite right.
We'll just have to wait and see. You never really know until you get into season and you start seeing some of these teams and how they mesh. I can't see in these glasses. I'm sorry. The bit's over. I'm taking them off. I can't see anymore. Ayabusha being taken 10th overall by the crew. Very solid pick there by Drew's Food, which means that it will be Kappa Corporation on the clock.
Yep, and again, pick number 11. So they started out at number 2. Now they're at number 11. So we're going to see what they want to pick up. And again, still a lot of like name brand people that have been around QSL a long time. We got Weki. Well, okay, I was just about to name him. There he is. Okay. So, but yeah, Weki, but we listed Suboptimal last time. He's still around. Storm is still around. Caps, who's kind of a new name, but SM Specify is still here. Clay City is still available. So there's some still notable names here. Wait, is that Kaizo that I see too? Yeah, Kaizo is still up too. So there's, again, a lot of names. Hellerin also, great players that we've seen in the Abyss division before, and we're just kind of waiting to see what happens here. So, but Weki definitely getting picked up for Kappa Corp does narrow that pool of known names a little bit more, and we'll see what King's Court wants to do, because they back to back, they get to pick twice, 12 and 13.
Yeah, you talked about the sort of strategies when you're in that first pick slot, needing to wait until the 12th and 13th pick to get your slots. I'm sure that you have to think Alfie had a full day to consider this. You have to think that he has a plan. He expected what the top 11 was going to look like, and we'll just have to wait and see what he has in store with these next 2 picks. But I kind of want to talk about the other end. How does the first pick compare to the 8th pick? Because they're in similar scenarios, just opposite sides of the board.
Well, and that's the whole draft strategy here. The advantage of the number 1 pick is that you get that number 1 pick. But then your next 2 pairings, like we see right now with King's Court up on the screen, your next 2 pairings are just back-to-back picks in each of the rounds. So you get 12 and 13, but then you've got to wait until 24 and 25 to pick again. So it's gonna be you sort of need to have that. Okay, I need this here and I need this here, and maybe I can, make this a strong side or this a weak side or something like that to figure out what what the team wants in that sense. So, oh, I just found out something. Okay,
What'd you
Kona,
find out, Red?
which so Kona, who I thought was a name that I had never seen before. I mean, it's not something that I'm used to.
Mm-hmm.
That is our
Wait, what? You kind of cut
yeah,
out. I'm sorry.
NMR is back.
You kind of cut out. That's NMR? I knew
That's
NMR was
NMR.
back.
Kona
Was
is
he under a
NMR.
different name?
So he now goes by Kona NMR. Now I have a soft spot for NMR in my heart because when I first started in QSL, way back in the dark days, I was part of the NM Army. He was the mentor for our team, and I still have the logos. I still have everything else from that. I mean, you want to talk about a march down memory lane in the QSL? You should see some of the some of the logos and team names and stuff like that. I've held on to, but yeah. So now we've got Tempo, Kona, and Weki here for the Kappa Corporation. That now that I know who those players are, that scares me. I really like what Kappa Corp's got now.
Absolutely. And I've got my own soft spot for NMR. You told your NMR story. Let me tell my NMR story. So, season 1 of QSL, because yes, I'm that old. I've been here since season 1. I was a mid laner for a team called the V Gods. Yes, the V stands for exactly what you think it does. And after week 1, I want to say, I got dropped. And then instantly, NMR, who was the captain of the order, picks me up. And we went all the way to the championship together. So I got a soft spot for NMR too. And let's not forget, he was also my first choice for captain when I became an org owner. He was my Abyss division captain for 2 seasons back when it wasn't called Abyss. I don't even remember what it was called, to be honest, at this point. But that doesn't matter. I got a very soft spot for NMR as well, and he's going to be teaming up with Suboptimal 22, someone I mentioned earlier on as being a number 1 overall in previous seasons, falling all the way down to 14th.
Yeah, so Meiju, again, you might know him in Discord as Meiju, but yeah, Suboptimal is someone who's been around for quite a long time in here. We have seen the good, we've seen the bad, we've seen the ugly. I think he's about to go full circle now. I'd love to see him kind of rebound and get that pressure once again, especially with Solo Lane the way it's playing right now. I really think that Meiju has a good shot of actually, some damage this time.
Yeah, absolutely. But if he's going full circle, he's got to do the bad first. So he's got to have a season of the bad before he gets back to the good.
Well, he kind of did that a little bit last year. So, but I digress. I would still rather see him bounce back. I would rather see him play really well. So, but again, we see Danger now getting picked up by the crew. So Drew's Food picking up Jack, Ayabusha, and now Danger, rounding out that roster quite nicely, actually. And again, we've seen, interestingly enough, so Jack is their solo. Well, he plays solo. So Jack, you've got for solo. Ayabusha, you've got a mid laner, and now Danger coming in here. I'm sorry, I'm don't see him. Oh, there he is. Okay, I thought he was a jungler. I just wanted to confirm, so I'm looking on the list, and he's definitely the jungler. As Kaizo's going to get picked up by Gold Diggers, so there's one that we were waiting for there as a good support player. Kind of, I don't know. I've kind of seen him like in 3 or 4 different roles. Has been bounced around here and there.
Well, he's won 2 Abyss Division championships in mid. I want to say he won one more in another role, but I can't say for certain. So I'm going to say what I'm confident in. He's a 2-time Abyss Division champion, falling all the way to 16th. And pairing him up with Aztec as well, that's looking like it's going to be a very potent very potent tanks on that Gold Digger's side, but between the solo and the support. Those are two very strong players, two players who are very well known, like very, very well known in the Abyss Division, have been around for quite some time, so it's going to be exciting to see what they can do in this upcoming season. Fallen Angels, we're a little bit behind, I apologize for that. Fallen Angels, they pick up Storm, and this just looks like Justin Hu getting his friends. The rest of the division is just letting Justin Hu, the returning champion, looking for the back-to-back, they're just letting him get his friends. Stages, Clay City, and now Storm.
I mean, not only that, but Clay City and Storm are both ADC mains, and their secondary roles are both mid. So I don't know. I don't know who's playing starter and who's going to be the backup, or if they're both going to play. Or I just yeah.
Yeah,
oh boy.
Once again,
we got stages here now too. So
yeah, once again, we'll just have to wait and see until the season actually starts, because you can't. Let's be honest. Me, Poe, and Bracking are going to be on the podcast next Wednesday. Go tune in, by the way, for the Quackcast. That's going to be a lot of fun. But we're going to have to try and break down these drafts. And you don't know what's going to happen until the season actually starts. A lot of times you don't know what's going to happen until the season ends. Let's be honest with you. There's a lot that can happen.
Very true.
Moving on to the what do you want to call it? Not the slither, I guess, because it's a snake, so you get 2. I'm trying to be clever and I can't come up with anything. My caster brain is dead. I apologize. 2 picks for the Underworld. They get Johnner and Swagga. Pick one of those. Actually, that's going to round out their starting 5. Drunk Diplomat, Legit, Moods, Johnner, and Swagga. I'm going to round out their starting 5. Pretty solid roster there for the Underworld coming out of the draft.
Yeah, I'm looking for John. Oh, there he is. Okay. Yeah, this is going to be an interesting one. Hang on. There we go. Oh, that's why. Okay, so in Discord his name is Johnner, or John CR. But it's Snicks. That's who that is.
Oh, that is a C.
Yeah, it's not an E, it's a C. But that's Snicks. So he just picked Grandmaster mid laner. And then of course Swagga jungler. He only plays jungle. So looking forward to see. Is it just me, or like Justin who is like trying to, like, I found 2 or 3 different people or 2 or 3 different roles that are like minimized in how many people are available, and I'm just gonna select all of them. Because Justin Hu plays mid lane, Stages plays mid lane, Clay City, Storm play mid lane. We've got 4 mid laners already. So
that's we've seen that happen time and time again. We've seen captains try and pick up EC Benson. By the way,
yep,
he's another mid laner, is he not? Am I crazy?
No, he's a support player.
Okay. I must be.
Yeah,
I must be thinking of someone else.
His secondaries are mid, ADC, and solo.
Okay, but yeah, we've seen in the past captains, pick up just roles. They role queue essentially, and hasn't worked out traditionally. Now Justin Hu is the returning champion. He's got a win. He's got a I'm struggling with words, man, today. I apologize. I'm struggling with words. He's got a championship on his belt. He's got a ring on his finger. He's ready to just move on. And from what I've heard from Uchi, the owner of the Fallen Angels, he's ready for the back-to-back. So he thinks that he has a roster that's ready for that. And we're just going to have to wait and see. Golden HD picked up by the Pittsburgh Gold Diggers. And the crew, they go with B Money Mayweather. What a fabulous name. I
Right?
genuinely like that name.
Yeah, so E-Money Mayweather is Batman in game. So if you've seen Batman running around, that's who it is. And again, ADC main. Batman's an ADC main. Golden that we were talking about before, he's also an ADC main. I don't know why, but there appears to be like about a quarter of the Abyss division, their primary role is ADC. So we're going to see a lot of people on secondary roles here in QSL, and we're going to see what they can do in their secondary roles as opposed to their primary roles.
Yeah, and as someone who has jumped around role to role to role to role to role to role to role every single season, pretty much, I there's a lot of benefit to playing outside of your main role. You get to see the map from a completely different angle. You get to understand how other roles are supposed to be played, which as a backliner, as a mid laner, playing ADCs was one of the most valuable times of my career. Just learning how that positioning is supposed to work and all that. So there's nothing wrong with playing outside of your main role, and given that this is the Abyss division, the best of the best in the QSL, let's be honest, they are for sure comfortable outside of just a single role. I'm sure that they can probably play all 5 roles better than a Deep Sea player can play in their main role, let's be honest. So I'm sure that there's...
You'd be surprised. You'd be surprised because the QSL, again, every single year we have done this, the quality has gone up. If you've noticed, because before we had, silvers and golds and, platinums that might have been playing in the major division. And now that we have the Abyss division, we've grown from one league or one division to 2 divisions, and now we're at 4 divisions. And we have seen the quality of play drastically increase. It used to be that you were getting platinum players and maybe an occasional diamond here or there. Now, if you're GM, if you're diamond, you're a rarity in the Abyss because everybody here is either a GM or and I think there's only one diamond. Yes, there's only one diamond player that is playing in the Abyss division, and that's Meiju. So have
Wait,
fun with
Meiju's
that.
a diamond?
Meiju is diamond.
I actually did not know that. Learn something new every day, huh? You wouldn't.
Everybody else is either a GM or a master, and in fact, the vast majority are GMs. So it's been crazy. And by the way, as we're looking right now, Elfie with the pick right now has his last 2. He's rounding out his entire squad here. So he's picking up 24 and 25, and we are going to be in our 5th round. This is it. This is all we're going to see in the Abyss division. Again, we do see a few. There's a few names that are in the Abyss division, or they were put in the Abyss division, or qualified for Abyss division, but they are waterfall eligible. So those players will appear next draft, which will be tomorrow, for the Deep Sea. So I expect to see many of those players if they're active, because again, you never know sometimes. But if they are active, if they want to play, I'm sure we're going to see a few of those players picked up in the first couple of rounds in the Deep Sea draft tomorrow.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're just gonna have to wait and see that's what a lot of the draft is. You wait and see what the pick is, and then you see the pick, and you just have to wait and see how it works out, how it's going to play out. The draft is all about building anticipation and building a squad that you believe in and you believe has a legitimate chance. We're looking at the full roster of the King's Court right now. Alfie put his squad together. Red, initial thoughts with this squad?
Yeah, so interestingly enough, hang on. I want to make sure I'm looking. Yes, okay. So rounds out here. Satoshi here is a mid laner and support. He's got good supports on his team. He's definitely got a very good duo lane right now. And I'm wondering who the Caps is. I can't imagine that would be the Caps that I'm thinking of. Um, he does play mid, but it just I'm into esports. Just relax, okay? But uh, no, it's definitely interesting to see that Physics, by the way, was originally placed in Deep Sea and is now called up and drafted into this. So
Hmm.
Alfie thought him highly rated enough that he said, "I'm looking at everybody who's left in the Abyss. I'm not I'm not really thrilled necessarily, or maybe there's something that I can do with Physics that I can't do with the rest. I'm gonna pick Physics, and we're gonna go into this Abyss, and he's gonna help us win." I like what they have. I know a couple of those names. I know how good they can play. I'm looking forward to seeing what the rest of the round out is from the division here, as Airbuzz is going to get picked up by the Kappa Corporation. To be honest, if I'm voting with my heart instead of my head, I'm a fan of the Kappa Corp. Sorry, NMR, wacky, suboptimal tempo, right there. Just that
Kappa Corp
that's
gained
the
some
way.
caster favoritism already, and the season hasn't even started, ladies and gentlemen.
What am I gonna do? What's the dirt level player gonna do for them? I mean, seriously, come on.
Well,
So
there
at
is such
least,
thing as the
at least I can.
caster's curse. So
Well, if nothing else, I can at least be nostalgic.
you're not wrong. You're not wrong. Moving on to the crew, they round out their draft with Furballer, a name that it sounds familiar to me. I don't know why. Maybe I'm thinking of Funballer. I'm probably thinking of Funballer, the former SPL player, and that's why it
I
sounds
think
familiar
you
to
are.
me. What was that?
Yeah, I think you are.
That's probably why it sounds familiar to me. I don't know who Furballer is, but they are going to be picked up for what I assume is to be the bench slot for the crew, as that is the sixth team member.
Yeah, and again, you don't know what the thoughts are here. We did see, was it 3 seasons ago, where someone who was picked up, I believe it was in Deep Sea, or no, it was Shallows, ended up going into Deep Sea and being a starter on the Deep Sea team, because he performed so well. Um, so you never know. You could be picked up sixth. You could be someone who's completely unknown, and you could ball out and have, at the end of the season, you could have millions of adoring fans somewhere. Maybe not here, but somewhere you could have millions of adoring fans.
I mean, I always like to say in season 1 of the QSL, I was the very last pick. I was Mr. Irrelevant for that draft. And then the very next season, I was the first pick of the second round. So you never know what's going to happen. Moving on to the Pittsburgh Gold Diggers. You got Fex, Mr. Sneaky, Aztec, Kaizocaster, Golden HD, and Kane Tempest to round out their draft. The Pittsburgh Gold Diggers coming in with quite a strong squad into the final season of the Abyss Division, at least for Smite 1.
Rounding out theirs with another player, but also plays mid and solo. So a little bit of flexibility coming out of Kane Tempest. We'll see what they want to do with that, but also waterfall eligible. So again, we're seeing Sneaky, Aztec, Kaizo, some familiar names here, but also some new ones. So Golden and Kane there. But again, rounding out our draft here for the Abyss Division, we've only got a couple left, as now Fallen Angels have picked up Catfish.
Yep, Catfish gonna round out the Fallen Angels. And I will say it again, Uchi literally just told Justin Hu, pick who you want, and he picked an all-friends team that is majority mid laners. Let's be honest here.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong.
And I see Uchi in the chat saying, "3-peat, don't hate." I don't hate it, Uchi, because let's be honest, Justin Hu has won enough to earn trust by everyone in the league. But I'm gonna be honest with you, there's a few names on the other teams that I could see causing massive problems for the Fallen Angels. As you expect in every season, this is a draft league, of course, but the Fallen Angels, it's going to be, I'm really interested to see how they mesh in season and how well it goes throughout the entirety of the season, because we've seen friend teams in the QSL multiple times, and early on in the season when the rest of the teams are trying to get in their groove, they do phenomenal, but then later on they start to fall off because in the end the rest of the teams got really good players and the friends just wanted to play together.
Yep. And I mean, that's sort of it's the one thing that you do see. Some friend teams end up disintegrating because, yeah, they're friends, but something happens and they just kind of, they explode out. You know, there's an argument that happens or something happens behind the scenes. But also when friend teams are picked up, generally speaking, in the early part of the season, they have the advantage because they've been playing together for so long that they have that chemistry that other teams take a week or two to build into. So I want to see what happens there as Zombie Billy May is going to get picked up here for the Underworld, and I believe that's it. Is that all she wrote?
That is indeed all she wrote. So let's go down the line real quick. In that first pick slot, Alfie and the King's Court took Valok, Skunk, Caps, Surfusi, and Physics to round out their draft. Very solid draft there coming out of the King's Court. Tempo and the Kappa Corporation take Kona, Wetchi, Suboptimal, Vayu, and Airbuzz. That's going to be a fan favorite of past QSL members. Let me tell you, some very notable names, including Kona, aka NMR, Wetchi, and Suboptimal. They've been in the QSL forever. That's going to be the fan favorite for sure. Drew's Food and the crew pick up Jack, Ayabusha, Danger, B Money Mayweather, and Furballer. Very solid squad as well. The Pittsburgh Gold Diggers, Fex, Mr. Sneaky, this Aztec, Kaizocaster, Golden HD, and Kane Tempest. The people's enemy, let's be honest, the Fallen Angels, Justin Hu, Stages, Clay City, Storm, EC Benson, and I already forget who it was. Oh, Carvish. That's right. Catfish. I'm sorry. I'm looking at a very small screen compared to the rest of y'all, and I'm already bad at reading. So the Underworld, though, round out the draft, picking up Drunk Diplomat. Well, Drunk Diplomat's the captain. I'm sorry, picking up Legit, Moods, John CR, Swagga, and Zombie Billy Mays. Red, you've already talked about your heart's feeling. What's your brain telling you about this draft?
I mean, looking at the names that I really like Kappa Corporation. I actually really like Fallen Angels as well, because I know what those players can bring to the table, and just pure mechanics. Not even when it comes to chemistry or operating together, or things like that. Just purely on mechanics alone, I know those teams are going to be excellent. We could see a couple, Underworld, and even King's Court, where there's a couple of familiar names, and then there's a couple of names that are just new to QSL. Even in the last season here, we still have brand new players that are coming in, GMs, masters, and we'll see what happens. I like the three of Aztec, Kaizocaster, and Golden over in the Pittsburgh Gold Digger. But I really like Drunk Diplo and Moods as well. I think that was a really good pickup for the Underworld. Based on sure knowledge, I really like Kappa Corp and Fallen Angel. Based on kind of the things I know, I like Underworld. I kind of like King's Corp as well, in that sense. I just don't know enough about the crew's pickups to see what they're going to do. They could be phenomenal. I just don't have the knowledge based upon the new players that they have. to say, oh, this is going to be a really good team or this is going to be a really bad team. I'm not sure. Same thing. Pittsburgh, they got a couple players that I know, a couple players that I know that are phenomenal, a couple players I know that, we'll see if, something happens during the season. I don't know. But at the same time, I really like what we've seen so far out of the Abyss division. I am looking forward to these games with bated breath, with whetted appetite. I really want to see some great Smite played between these teams.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just like we've been saying the entire draft. I'm going to say it again, and just in case you weren't listening the first 50 times, you never really know what's going to happen until you get into the season. These teams could be struggling early on, but I wouldn't be surprised if all of them struggle a bit. Besides the Fallen Angels, we've kind of already gone over why we're not exactly expecting them to struggle early on. But I wouldn't be surprised if we see some struggles from the other 5 teams early on in the season. But come playoff times, ooh, those are going to be some fun matches to watch. All 6 of these teams should, and I will preface with a little asterisk, should have all of their synergy figured out, be well aware of each other's play styles, and well aware of the other team's play styles. You're going to see some true SPL level games, let's say, in the QSL, because that's just how good these players are, and that's just how well these teams are going to know each other in the playoffs. But remember, only 4 teams make the playoffs at the end of the season. So unfortunately, 2 of these teams are going to be left out of that dance. It's going to be interesting. I mean, we already know that the Kappa Corporation, and I'm going to say the Pittsburgh Gold Diggers as well, just because of the notable names there. Those 2 are going to be the fan favorites. And then you got the villains of the Fallen Angels looking for that 3-peat. Got Justin Hu's stages. This is just a team that's easy to hate if you had been in the QSL for long enough.
I mean, if they got to manufacture the chip on their shoulder to give them that boost to the next level, so be it. But still, if it's a manufactured chip or if it's a genuine chip, they've already won it a couple of times. They're going to have a target on their back. At least as an org, they're going to have a target on their back.
Absolutely, not to mention that everyone just loves hating on Uchi, me included. Don't get that wrong, me included.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong.
But then you've also got I don't want to call them underdogs, but the unknowns in the Underworld, the King's Court, and the Crew. We just don't know enough about these teams. We know enough about the Kappa Corporation and the Gold Diggers to say, oh yeah, these are going to be the fan favorites. We know enough about the Fallen Angels and the players there to say, oh yeah, these are probably going to be who everyone expects to win, but everyone's going to be rooting against. We don't know enough about the King's Court, the Crew, and the Underworld, and you gotta admit, that's a little scary if you are the Kappa Corporation, the Pittsburgh Gold Diggers, or the Fallen Angels. You gotta be wondering, okay, what are these teams bringing on any given week? And that is gonna be probably the most fun thing about the season starting. What are these 3 teams going to bring? We're just gonna have to wait and see. But, ladies and gentlemen, quackers and quackettes, that is the end of the Abyss Division draft. Don't you dare go anywhere. Well, actually, you can go take a rest tonight, because tomorrow we got the Deep Sea Division going head first into the water. But I've been Raptor. Joining me has been Red Sniper. Poe was here earlier on, and of course, shout out to all of the wonderful Leviathans that were running things behind the scenes. You all are great in your own right. But that's going to be all for us tonight. We will see you all tomorrow for the Deep Sea Division draft. Keep quacking, y'all.
Cheers.